Welcome to Realtor Talk with Steph and Kel.
Hey guys,
Hi, I'm Stefanie Campbell.
and I'm Kelly Dugan.
Whether you're buying, selling, or just curious on the ins and outs of the real estate world, you've come to the right place.
What are we going to talk about on this podcast?
Everything, duh.
You name it, we cover it.
Tune in weekly as we bring you insightful conversations with industry experts, success stories, horror stories, and definitely some laughs along the way.
Welcome back.
What's up, guys?
We've been a little absent. That was so like, what's up?
What's up?
We've been a little absent. Sorry for the couple missed weeks. It's been a market. It's been a crazy market.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right. We're going to get back in the swing. We're going to go back to weeklies. We're on every other week right now. But
Yeah,
that's
don't
all right.
worry, guys. Well, we will not keep you hanging again. I love the topic idea that Stephanie wants to do today. We're talking about mood killers in a deal, and it seems like such a minuscule thing to talk about,
my
but
God.
it is so important. It really
It is so important, and people don't realize this. I think I think maybe it's at top of mind because I just hung up with somebody where I'm like, we have to keep this. She wanted me to go back to my clients and ask for something that I thought was overkill. Like, they don't need to give you this extra oomph to win the deal. I was like, if I go back to my clients and ask them for this,
What was it?
to completely waive their appraisal. So we signed an appraisal gap waiver. I think, I just don't know. I don't know
So if you already did a waiver, why are they asking for?
because somebody else was
Nervous
waiving.
Nellies?
Somebody else was waiving it completely in the deal, like that they had an offer from somebody else, and then on their purchase out of state, they just signed a $50,000 appraisal gap waiver. And the house is going to appraise out. Like, it's not. It is, the comps are there. There's nothing to worry about. It's just because these people just signed a $50K one, and somebody else is trying to waive it completely, which.
Are your clients even in the position to be able to waive it? Because that's not really always the client's call.
No, they could probably waive it, but again, it
sucks because you're creating problems that have not happened yet.
it's so annoying.
It's the worst. And I think we even talked about that in the last podcast when it's just like everything is situational, one step at a time. And when you're like almost predicting things to go wrong, and I get it, you wanna try to prevent fires from happening. But at the same time, when you get fixated over this stuff that it's like you don't even know if it's going to become a problem yet.
I just feel like so much of our job is refereeing, personality juggling, therapy, like that whole thing. And it's so important. And I can't stress this enough for like realtors listening or buyers or sellers. Like, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I always say this when I get a tricky realtor, meaning like they just like to argue, which I'm like, you should have been an attorney, I guess. I say to them, we can make this really easy for everybody and happy and smooth, or we can make this extra challenging and difficult. Like, it's up to us to decide. And
I actually had to talk an agent off of the ledge basically the other day and it was with ours that we did together that just closed today, which thank the Lord Jesus.
Kelly and I did have a little twofer. It was so cute.
I know. I had my sellers, they were selling in Mokina and they were wanting to buy in Indiana, and I'm not licensed in Indiana, so Stephanie helped with their buy. So it was cool that we like got to do one together.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was, I mean, and I don't like to bash agents. That is one thing I wanted to talk about, is one of my most pet peeve tacky marketing styles that I see from realtors on Facebook is if your realtor is not doing this, or if your realtor does that. Like, I don't really like to knock the way other agents do business. However, this woman would call me as if everything was on fire over these smallest things. And finally, after the third thing, I think this one was about the gutters. Mind you, it was an as-is sale. And the gutters being cleaned on this townhouse, you would think it was the most detrimental thing in the entire world. So anyways, she's calling me. And then finally, this was last week, and I was like, I'm not going to say her name, but I'm like, I need to know if this is how you are speaking, like in the tone that you have with me, and like everything is this like, ha, ha, oh my gosh.
Did you look up her
And I
volume?
said to her, yes, and it's nothing where it's low. Of course it is.
Of course it's low.
And she's acting like everything. And I finally said to her, I said, if this is the way that you are if your delivery is the same with me as it is with your client, this is why we're in this. I said, the way that you're reacting is going to project on her. And she goes, my buyer's been crying and she just is so stressed. And I go, well, yeah, if you called me the way that you're if you called her the way you're calling me, I probably would have cried too as a buyer. I'm like, we need to breathe and realize that we are talking about gutters getting cleaned.
Yeah.
And we need to breathe and realize that again, and that is my biggest.
This is what I think happens with like some of the newer agents. They get so excited to do a good job for their clients that they think they're like going in like, okay,
I'm going to show my buyer how much I'm fighting for them. It's like,
I'm
really?
gonna go. But like you end up causing so many problems because this is a very emotional time for like on both sides of the deal. And everybody thinks everybody's out to get them. And it's our job to just be logical and have common sense. And that's why we're so important. And that's why I don't think realtors are really going to go anywhere, because the amount of hand holding and emotional roller coasters and just chit chats and all these things to keep a deal smooth, that's impossible without us.
Yeah, it really is.
That's why I'm saying it's so crazy. I knew her volume was low, not to be
right.
Dingle. Well, I would say that though. There's actually some realtors that actually do a lot that are just argumentative.
It's their personality.
It's their personalities. And somebody once said to me, I think we're super lucky. Like most of our clients are freaking bomb.
I agree.
And I have so many like people that I'd love to go get a cocktail with and like hang out with that I work with. But I think you attract the business like of your vibe. What your vibe is out is the vibe you're getting back.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of those other realtors that are probably really argumentative and just grumpy, that's the type of clients they're going to attract.
Yes, 100%. And even, I'll never forget this one too. This one stuck out to me because this is when I was a little bit more green. And it was the agent on the other side was definitely a more established vetted realtor. And it was actually my cousins who were the buyers. And we ended up they let us see it before the open house, and we like offered at a price to where it made total sense for them to cancel the open. So this agent did me a solid. I'll say that, like allowing you to do that. And then something happened that it was the smallest credit. I think it was $1,000 towards something. I forget. And my clients / cousins asked for it because again, you can only control people so much. Even though we did as is, it's something I would have asked for, probably not. But this agent called me freaking out, and I'm like, then say no. Like, this is something, like, just, why are you calling me freaking out? I can't control my clients. And I've told them that there is a good chance that, we did as is. They kept it from everybody seeing it. This is a chance. Like, why do you feel the need to call me and freak out on that, thinking that, do you think I was like, yeah, let's get them. Let's ask for that $1,000. Like, it's just like, why don't you call me and be like, hey, was that, I probably would have been like, I mean, that was a little unnecessary to ask for that on an as is. I would have acknowledged it. I would have been like, really? But I wouldn't have called with like, fire out of my ears. I'm like, again, like people, especially the agents like that, they just get so heated, and it sets the tone for the entire deal until closing. We have 45, 60 days, however, 30 days with these people. And you just need to have realistic expectations. And like you said earlier, always put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah. And I think that what also people don't realize is, and I think you had a topic like that, or a situation like this recently, like, let's say that my clients were really annoyed about this request. They ended up giving it, but they hold that grudge going into the inspection.
Oh, yeah.
And then memories are very short, and they're going to, well, they didn't give me anything, so I'm not going to give them anything. Like, didn't you have a situation like that recently?
Oh, yeah. I feel like we're just giving and we're getting nothing in return. And I'm like,
no, remember that move date? Or is that too exact?
No.
Didn't somebody, the credit. The accidental...
Oh, the rent back?
The rent back. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about that. That was basically an error on... So, long story short, you know what? Actually, probably not.
Okay. Scratch that.
Maybe in like a year.
And in a year, we'll go back to that one. But the point is that the buying a home and selling a home is so personal. Somebody can walk into a house and be obsessed and love it and like, that's the one, I want it, I'm so excited, and then we end up leaving that house, and if things go south mentally, no matter how much they are in love with that house, the buyer ends up talking themselves out of buying it because you're like, you know what, no, it's not worth this, or that pride gets in the way of logical decisions all the time. And
it can get in the way of $50.
yes. So like that's what people don't realize. Like it is so important to be on your best behavior and treat people how you want to be treated, because it will come back and bite you in the behind.
Yes.
Like karma is a thing in real estate especially.
And don't hide behind, and this is one thing too, it's like, don't hide behind, like, I mean, yes, our attorneys, Jason is a shark. He's a killer. He's great. He's going to get you what you want.
Okay.
And
JC,
so,
the group.
but like, and
Or
that's another thing
JMC.
too, is like some of the things that like these clients they'll say or do is like to the attorney, and it's like there is no way that if like just say that you were doing something by owner and you didn't have all these mediators or anything, like you wouldn't say that to them. You just wouldn't. And just snowballing off of this, another thing I've always wanted to address too is how like the misconception, in my opinion, it's a misconception of like that realtor that's like aggressive and
Oh my
shy.
God.
It's like that
Wait,
is the worst type.
I was once at this was earlier in my career, and I was at like a dinner with a bunch of girls, and this realtor in the city, this girl was going to work with him, and she's like, yeah, you know, like he's a huge asshole, but he's a really good realtor. He argues for you or something. Flash forward, I know him better and I've done deals with him, and like he's like the first guy in line to like get his buyers to like pay more to like get the deal done. And he is the perception that he gives off is not at all the reality of the situation. And Kaylin Goldstein is like the prime example. Is like people might mistake her kindness for not being aggressive, but do you know the amount of times I've name dropped that chick and gotten a deal done because of it? Because people love her so much and respect her so much. Nobody wants to do wrong by her. And again, she can hold her own. She can totally be a tough cookie, but people mistake kindness for weakness. And that is not
100%.
at all true. You catch so many more. What's the saying?
You catch more bees with, what is it? You catch
Flies
more
with honey? I don't know.
you know
Whatever.
what we're talking about. But
guys
I
get it.
agree, because I've even had this like, I mean, on the buy side, I think it's a given in the sense of being just like, especially if you're a multiple offer situation, like me and that agent are going to become besties real quick. But when you're on the list side, that misconception bugs me, because I know that when there's an asshole listing agent, like things don't get done easier at all. Whereas on the listing agent, okay, just say we got that offer, but there's like a couple things in there that are pretty small, but things that you want. Maybe it's a different closing date, or maybe we're trying to get them to do as is. When I call the agent and I deliver that, or like, hey, they do want, an appraisal gap waiver or anything like that, the delivery of like the communication between agent to agent is literally going to make or break those final terms in that contract.
100%.
In my opinion.
100%. Yeah, no, it is. I think it's so important. People underestimate. And again, I'm not saying that I think it's very important to be assertive in this business and confrontational. Like, I don't get embarrassed to ask basically anything.
Same.
So like, I think that is also an important trait to have, but you have to be respectful and kind and likable and all of those things.
Assertiveness, straightforward, everything. Actually, I have a cool story. The other day I was showing my buyer a townhouse in Mokina, and she like loves that area, but she didn't love that unit. She likes the ones with a walkout basement. And so the neighbor, it had a walkout basement and didn't look like anyone was home. So I looked up the address. I swear to God. So I called him, and he didn't answer. So I followed up with a text, and basically it was just like, I'm so sorry if this is so crazy and weird, but I just have to do this for my client, yada, yada, yada. He responds back so kindly, and it's like, hi, Kelly, I'm a pilot. That's basically a place where I lay my head. I've been wanting to sell this summer. Call me when I'm in town in mid-June. Oh, yeah. So, like, I basically, like, I am not too proud to call someone if they tell me to fuck off and hang up, or, I'll hang up on them, but whatever. I don't care if I get hung up on, or if they tell me, get out of here, I'm not selling, kick rocks. Yeah, I'm like, okay, bye. That doesn't hurt my feelings. But you have to be, there's a difference between being assertive, straightforward, confident, all of the above there, versus just being an asshole to be an asshole.
Yeah. Amen. Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right.
I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Summary is
Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
be kind.
Yeah. Are we on the Ellen DeGeneres show?
Do to those how you would like to be done to you.
Yeah. Be kind and honestly, just be reasonable. If I can have a sticker on my forehead that says "Be reasonable," be reasonable,
Yeah,
because it is
totally.
like sometimes, and back to the lower volume thing. The reason I think that you realized that she knew she had no lower volume is because when we have so much going on, the same day I found out about the gutters not being cleaned was a day about that short sale that ended up having like a $40,000 lien on the property. And I'm like, and she's calling me about gutters.
I know. Some people just don't have anything better to do, but whatever.
Yeah. So that's that for today.
Ciao, ciao for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Tune in weekly for new episodes.
Follow the link in the show notes to answer our survey and have your topics talked about on Realtor Talk with Steph and Kel.
Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Bye.
Ciao.